Bien. Talking about survival, I want to zone into you again and speak a little bit about Bien. I like the fact that you talked about Polycarp left the country and went under Sauti Sol and went to do a course to come back and help Sauti Sol. You guys are now beginning to create your own music internally. From a songwriting perspective, honestly speaking, dude, I think hands down you are on my top 2 songwriters in this country. If I can say top 3. Uko juu. And I'll name another guy who is there, probably unknown to many guys, is Riga. Riga is another guy who one of the amazing, and he'll be here on this show one
time. I like him because he's a rap singer.
Exactly. Pitson.
Ningeza kurap by the way. Mkona bahati. Calligraph.
But then you and Calligraph need to do a collab album. Just the 2 of you.
We're doing it. Don't worry. We'll come. Me and OG have to do an album for sure. I've talked to him about it. We both need to create time.
Yeah. Okay, so you come a time now is a time Rona. Anyway, but let me go. So let's talk about your songwriting career. As a songwriter, I've had Shinde be on this show say is it Shinde or somebody?
Shinde, yeah.
Bien wrote this song. I've heard your name Fununus in the songwriting world. How much has this thing evolved and to what levels has it gone to?
My songwriting is evolving. I think I can say to myself that I'm getting better with time because I practice a lot. Like I write a song every day.
What do you mean you write a song every day, bro?
See, every day I just write a song, like, you know, not like that. Like I continue I write every day. So even if I'm not writing in my session, I'm in Viri's session, I'm writing with Viri. I'm with Ben Sol, I'm writing with Ben Sol. I'm in Polycarp, I'm writing for I'm always writing. I'm always trying to sharpen that skill. And I'm always going out when I'm in different countries to write with different writers and understand perspective.
Well, so even abroad you've had
Yeah, I've written in Germany, I've written in SA.
What do you mean you've written? You've been called and guys
I've been called to write for people in the States, you know, like those are my checks that are coming in during these Corona times. Okay. My royalties too. Isaac Newton. Hey,
you're checking me. Okay, let's break this thing down, layman. So what happens? Like when you went to Germany, an artist there calls you.
They were looking for an African perspective for choruses. You know, Afrobeat is now really big, and they're looking. Everything is being Africanized in the world. So like in this season where everything is being Africanized, they're looking for guys who can come and, you know, help their artists achieve that, be as African as possible. And it's so easy because me, I'm African. So what they think is work, to me, Yani.
it's what you do.
The first day I went there, we were doing hooks. So me, I was called to do hooks.
Those guys have structure.
Because they just want African hooks. The verses are in
Who
German.
Called you, can I ask?
Universal Germany.
Okay.
So the verses are in German, and then the hooks have Swahili in them and melodies and chants and all these things. So the first day I went, I did 7 because it's easy. You're just doing hooks. And you know what a hook is? A hook is the first thing that came to your mind when you heard that track. That's the hook because that's what's gonna be catchy. Sometimes you write a hook and then you're like, no, let me change this hook. You're never going to find something as catchy as that. Ile ya kwanza ile ikishika ndio imeshika.
Yeah.
So the first day I did 8. The next day they told me, no, the thing is, here we only do 1 song a day. But we do 365 songs. So their consistency beats this rush of, you know, euphoria. And I was like, cool then. Then the second day now, I came in the morning, I did the hook. And then I was like, so I'm free for the rest of the day? Yeah, and that happened for 10 days. And I was like, oh, by day 4, I used to come in the morning, I do the hook for the day, and then I bounce. I just go walk around Berlin, you know, meet other people, write in other sessions too. You know, because now when I was writing in that session I was in, word came around that, hey, there's a guy from Kenya, that boy is bad, man. So, are you done with these guys? Yeah. Then they're calling me to their sessions. Oh, I'm like, more royalties. I'm writing hooks. So, I'm writing hooks.
That's crazy.
And so
yo kathini inalia kutoka wapi? Bien. We took a slight break there.
Yeah, man.
Yani you're giving guys value. Tuendelee na hii royalty conversation.
Okay.
So you finish here, you're called to another place.
Yeah, and you just do it, man. And you know, like, royalties to artists is what real estate is to realtors. So you're here, you're building this building that's going to be giving you rent for X amount of years. Same with your music. Your music gives you royalties until you die, hopefully.
So the songs that you wrote for other things, some of them were released. Those radio stations, that country has systems.
That country has systems. Things are working there. And even if you're going to get a minimum check there, they'll give you maybe 200K.
What?
That's a minimum check. There's a society that I'm a member in, Bumastrema. Every year they give a flat fee of 3,000 euros to all their members. You know how MTSK gives us 2 Gs a pop?
Yeah.
They give us a flat fee of 3,000 euros.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, when are we ever going to get those structures? When are we ever going to remove the politics from this shit so that people can actually make money the way they're meant to be making money?
Because it's talent.
Because, man, those are the things now. I cannot vouch for a presidential candidate who has no strategy for the music industry.
I love it.
You know, I can't.
In fact, in the manifesto, we need to see
a strategy for the music industry with deliverables and with penalties for not reaching. Like, there has to be something, you know. How can River Road, how can we all be saying tunaogopa wale wa River Road, wale wabaya uko MCSK, tunaogopa sijui nini, and we have a president.
Bien,
and we have a parliament.
Just look into the camera and speak to musicians about what you're saying right now about campaigning for a presidential who doesn't have a strategy.
To all you musicians, you need to understand that proper systems make sure that everybody gets paid. And for all of us to get paid, we need to have policy that ensures we are all paid. So the policy has to ensure that we are all, that first of all, Kenyan music is being played at a certain quota percentage, maybe 90%. And then we need to have policy. All these leaders who you're trying to vote for are policy makers. So what are you doing to challenge them to create better policies for us to have a better industry and just make like proper cash, you know?
Because the money is there.
The money is there.
So
the money
push the radio stations. The radio stations are getting paid.
They are paying. Some radio stations are paying.
MCSK is the one who's dishing guys chums.
You know, and now when you start to get into those MCSK things, it becomes political. You can even lose your life. Like,
has Sauti Sol been gotten royalties?
Yeah, we get royalties, but MCSK royalties are not my royalties that are going to put food on my table. They just come when they come. I mean, we got 400K.
400K?
Yeah.
The era of
just like the other day. And you know, this is when MCSK is collecting the most and the best. So like, I respect even that 400K. It's a step in the right direction. It could and should be better. We deserve better. You guys, people who do ads in Sweden are living off ad revenue. Royalties off of a jingle you did. Why shouldn't you be able to do that in Africa? Why is this the wild, wild west where if you try to change the system, someone tells you they're going to kill you because they're eating there with their family, you know? Like, very few people are benefiting from a resource that should be benefiting an entire nation and creating room for further generations. The Korean government invested 1% of their GDP on Korean music and art and acting and K-pop and K-movies. How many, the Oscars were the other day, Korean movies have won.
You see.
K-pop is #1 in the world.
Yep.
Yani, that is a no-brainer. That the Kenyan government, if they had to put 1% of their GDP in the arts, they would employ how many youth?
Yeah.
So there's just a serious leadership problem. And if you're going out there to campaign for these guys and they're not changing that policy, they'll use you for campaign until you die.
I love you know what I love what you said. Let a politician show you their strategy for music and the arts, what they're going to do. I love that 1% of the GDP put it. That's kidogo, but
did you see what Ruto said to Calligraph Jones as a response? He was like, yo, come, we'll organize food packages for artists. Food packages? We don't need food. Umetoka kwa msosi. Hatuko hapa hivi. This is not Darfur. Yeah, we need food. This is not you know, you're turning us into beggars. We don't need that kind of support. We need systemic support. People need to be paid royalties. That's how artists make a living.
Yani, you've talked about the royalties that are coming from abroad.
They come from abroad.
And obviously during in this COVID period.
Yeah. An old catalog, you know, like old catalog. I'm talking Mwanzo and Sol Filosofia. Those things, man. You get a check quarterly. It's a good check.
I love it, man.
Yeah, it's a good check. Like, and that's what we need to understand. Like, the real estate of artists
is royalties.
Is building music that will come to cushion you when you're 50, 60, that's your pension. That's when you're going to be sitting down. There's a Sting song. Every step you take, it makes him $2,000 a day.
A day.
That's 200 grand a day.
And then we're not even talking about the one he did with Craig David, that melody.
Now everyone, and then even now there's a song called Lucid Dreams by an artist, I think, what's his name? I've been a lucid dreams. This new age artist, they've sampled Sting. So you need to understand, like when you build that whole structure, people are paid for samples, people are sampling, people are doing what? South Africa has that. South African artists, by the way, make good money from their royalties. Even a keyboardist who played on your record gets good money from publishing. Why aren't we doing that here in Kenya, Maze? And who do you want to fix it if the president cannot fix it? You know, if the president goes like, hey, yo mambo ya mziki, and you know, 9 out of 10 times, by the way, Yani, I'm not even like throwing a finger pointing at the president, but I'm just saying like,
the buck stops with
the
him.
Power. That's where the power is. He just needs to say, I want this thing cleaned up. What system are they using in the best collecting society apparently maybe is in Scandinavia? What systems are they using? Call those guys here for benchmarking. Create the same system. You know, when this thing goes digital, there's no corruption.
Because it's trackable.
It's trackable, exactly, man. So like we just need to really, really wake up and stop accepting mediocrity.
Yo, this I'm loving this conversation. Okay, let's talk about another transition. Does Marek transition with you guys to now this next album?
No, so from the African Source album, we went to Live and Die in Africa. Sorry, from the African Source album, we went to Midnight Train.
Yep.